What's up, guys? Now, we have some pretty unfortunate news today in terms of Star Wars video games. It is being reported from multiple sources that EA has canceled their next open world Star Wars game. So, yeah, EA strikes again with their crappy practices. If they don't think there's going to be enough moolah coming in, then they scrap it. And yeah, so if you had hopes for a new Star Wars game coming in the next few years, it's not going to happen. Now, if you guys didn't know, this was the game that was being worked on from Visceral Games, and then they shut it down and they moved it to a different studio to finish it, and now they're just completely scrapping it. So here's an article from Kotaku, which is talking about it. It says, Electronic Arts has canceled its open world Star Wars game, according to 3 people familiar with going-ons at the company. The game, announced alongside with the shutdown of Visceral Games back in 2017, had been in development at EA's large office in Vancouver. EA Vancouver, a large studio that mostly handles support for a variety of publishers' games, including FIFA and Battlefront, have been working on this open-world Star Wars game since October 2017. With EA closed Visceral Games until then, Visceral, best known for its popular Dead Space horror series, which is pretty good. I like the way that Dead Space was. I mean, that was a pretty good series of games. Developing its own Star Wars game, that project, codenamed Ragtag, was a linear action adventure game directed by Uncharted director Amy Hennig. EA Vancouver had been assisting on the project, and when EA closed Visceral Games on October 17th, 2017, the Vancouver studio took it over. Then they say that EA has not responded to this, like they haven't had a backup story, like they haven't come out and announced another game, which is like which segues into like the question, where do we go from here? Our only hope is, are they working on a secret game that they haven't told anybody? Because ever since EA, like when Disney got Star Wars and they partnered up with EA to make Star Wars games, we've got Battlefront 2015, we have got Battlefront 2. They both had their controversies. Battlefront 2015, I just flipped you guys off. Battlefront 2015 didn't have any maps to begin with. It came with 4 at launch, and then it was just, there was no campaign. It was just a very lackluster game. It was just a really rough, just cash grab. Now, that game eventually got better with a year's worth of DLC, but then we all know the controversy with Battlefront 2 with the loot boxes and the pay to win, and then they got rid of it, and then nobody bought it, and everybody was angry, and so Battlefront 2's had a rough year, and then they had the year of basically hardly any DLC, and then they have the mobile games. So EA's got their mobile games, and that's all that we've seen from EA. So they have the Jedi Fallen Order, which is supposedly still on track to come out this fall. We still don't know anything about that. We just know that it's going to be single player. It's got stuff to do with like hunting down Jedi, and it will come out this fall. I would assume we're going to see something at EA Play this summer. So there's that. But we don't know anything else. We don't know like gameplay. We don't know anything for that game yet. So that could be hit or miss. I mean, we don't know how that's going to be. Now, when you look at past Star Wars games, like the Force Unleashed, for example, like they're just really short cash grabs. Now, the Force Unleashed was a really fun game that I loved. I loved the first one and the second one, but the second one was so short. It was pathetic. Like, I remember buying The Force Unleashed 2, and I was still in high school. So I went to high school. The game came out. I was in school. My friend was sick, and he stayed home from school, and he picked up the game, and he played it all day. He had the game beaten twice before I could even get home from school and play it for myself to beat it once. So that's how short The Force Unleashed 2 was. And that's my fear for this Jedi Fallen Order, because EA was like, hey, we don't want to do single-player games. Nobody likes single-player games. Then what do? They make a single-player game. It doesn't make any sense. So hopefully they have some sort of like twist or something, or it has enough content. Like they need to have maybe throw in some multiplayer or something. Or if it's a huge game, kind of like, let's compare it to like Assassin's Creed, or to like oh hell, I don't know, something to that size, or like a Mass Effect game. If it was the size of a Mass Effect game, that's jam-packed with content. That's a single-player game. If it's something like that, that's fine. If it's something as short as like a Call of Duty campaign, and that's all we get, then that's pathetic. Or if it's as short as like the Battlefront 2 campaign, and that's all we get, that's going to be pretty sad. So let's cross our fingers that that's not the case, and they're actually working on something behind the scenes, and they're either going to hit us with a Battlefront 3, which is a possibility. That's probably the strongest possibilities, that we get a third Battlefront. Or they're just working on something else that they haven't told us about, because right now there's nothing else. We have Jedi Fallen Order coming out this fall. Nothing else is announced after that. Just no more Star Wars games. So yeah, this is another strike for EA and how crappy their company is. Like I don't know. They never cease to amaze me when it comes to how shitty EA can be. Like, they are just the scummiest. And then they wonder why they get voted the worst company almost every year, because everybody hates them, because we put all our trust and we love these franchises like Star Wars, or like the sport games. Like, people love the NFL, they love FIFA, and then they just nickel and dime you every chance they get, and it's just a copy paste of the sport games every single year, and people buy them. So yeah, that is my thoughts on this whole situation. Hopefully they're working on something behind the scenes, and then they announce it either this year or they surprise us with it next year. I mean, I would be okay with the Battlefront 3 as long as they improve from Battlefront 2. I mean, Battlefront 2 was definitely an improvement from Battlefront 2015. So if they make Battlefront 3 an improvement from Battlefront 2, then maybe we'll finally get a good freaking Battlefront game. So fingers crossed. But it's EA, so expect the worst, and then you won't be disappointed. So that is my opinions on this whole controversy, this whole situation. Let me know what you guys think of EA down in the comments below. I'm kind of excited to read these comments. But yeah, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. So, bye-bye.
We would be honored if you would join us. You cannot resist